Please check. The number you have called is not in...
Good morning, Blazer Square. Holly speaking. How can I help?
Good morning. Could you put me through to room 411, please?
Of course. Can I ask the name of the guest you're trying to contact?
Mr. Geoffrey Downes?
No problem at all. If you hold the line.
Thank you.
Hello?
Hello, Geoffrey.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Michael Persh calling from Australia. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. The guys from QED set me up for a quick hello.
That's good. Great stuff.
My apologies for being a bit late. They gave me the wrong number, so we got there eventually.
Okay. Okay, no worries. Are you out in Sydney?
No, I'm in Adelaide.
Adelaide, oh right, okay.
It's a great pleasure to say hello, mate. How are things going? It's a very busy time for Asia at the moment.
Yeah, it is. We just finished another album, and that's been out now for a couple of weeks. It's been very nicely received. An album called Gravitas. So it's been great, yeah.
I've been playing the album and I love it, and I know there's a lot of fans out there that, you know, when Steve left the band were thinking, well, you know, what's going to happen with Asia this time, but Sam has really, he is a marvellous guitar player, mate.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's come on very well. I think that you know, everyone's playing really good, and you know, I think the songs are very strong on the album, so we're very pleased with it.
I recall reading some months back that the title of the album was going to be named after another one of the tunes, Valkyrie. Is that correct or not?
Yeah, that was the kind of working title, because when I started working on the writing with John, that was the first song that we were working on, and we thought, you know, at that time we thought that was going to be the title of the album. But I think when we got sort of further into the project, as it were, and started writing more material, we felt that was maybe just a bit too restricting, you know, in terms of the concept. So that's when the other idea of Gravitas came up.
Mm. And it's interesting because you know, the opening tune of Valkyrie is such a strong tune, and for me it just encapsulates everything that Asia has been over the years. If I had to say, you know, this is a song that says what Asia does, that it's a great example of that.
Yeah, I think it is. I think that's one of the reasons that you know, that was the first sort of real idea that we had for the album, and I think that kind of shows that we had, you know, we wanted to sort of pick up the bull by the horns and hit the ground running, and so I think, you know, it worked out really well, that particular song.
And since John has joined the band and the original band has got together and evolved to what it is now, you guys have been so prolific and it's been so successful. Did you really have in your wildest dreams back then when that all happened that it would continue for so long and people would embrace or be so excited by the new music the band's making?
Well, I don't think, you know, we could have predicted that, but certainly, you know, the last since we got back together again in 2006 with the original lineup, yeah, we've put out, I think, 4 studio albums now. You know, a lot of live stuff as well, because we've managed to capture some of the live events around the world that we've been, and we've done a lot of touring, and there's still, you know, it's just encouraging that there's still, you know, a big, I suppose you could say, a feeling that they want, you know, they want to still see Asia, and so that's great that's, you know, we've still got that draw.
Well, you mentioned the live albums, Geoffrey, and that's one of the things that I think you've done so so well over the years is every era of the band is captured live on a DVD or a CD, and I know the fans love that, and you have such a loyal following.
Yeah, well, that's right, and I know we've got, although we've never played in Australia with Asia, I know that we've got a lot of great fans there. But yeah, I mean, it seems to be the music of Asia seems to transcend all the boundaries, and we've got fans all over the world. So it's nice to know that the music has got that sort of ability to be able to pull people in like that.
And there's a couple of songs on the album that really jump out at me. Russian Dolls is one of my very favourites. It's fairly obvious as to what the subject matter is about, but it's a very haunting tune.
Yeah, I think that John and myself were very much focused on writing melodic songs that are memorable. We're not so much into the sort of the more progressive rock aspect where it's very much complex instrumentation. But having said that, there is some of that in there to some degree. But I think we've always been of a mind that we wanted to do stuff that was memorable and stuff that we liked ourselves, with tunes and nice harmonies and that kind of thing.
And also another tune that I really like, Jeffrey, is a tribute to Joe DiMaggio, and baseball is not a huge sport in this part of the world, but still a fascinating subject.
No, it was just a phrase. I think that someone had mentioned it to John somewhere, and he thought it was a very nice twist on a kind of a catchphrase. So these are just influences that you get along the way, and I think that it's kind of nice that they're recorded in songs in some respects. Indeed,
and you mentioned the tour before, and I was very fortunate to come to Melbourne a couple of years back and see you perform with Yes, and it was an absolute thrill to see you play. So and I know, as you said before, there is a lot of Asia fans hoping that you'll bring the band to Australia one day.
Yeah, I hope so one day. It would be nice, and I think that it's just really. I think we've come close a couple of times, but it's just not quite worked out at the last minute. So I know that we've got quite a few contacts there. So hopefully something will come through eventually.
Indeed, and if I can just sidetrack and talk about Yes for a very brief moment, I guess the huge thrill for me from seeing you guys play the Fly From Here tour was I never thought I would ever see you guys perform live anything from Drama, which is my favourite Yes album, and I think a lot of people around the world. So that was just a huge thrill.
Yeah, I mean it's always we've talked maybe about one day doing the whole of the Drama album, but as I say, that's just an idea at the moment. But it would be great to play that again, that's for sure, because I think it's an album I'm very proud of, and I think that a lot of even the real die-hard Yes fans have learned to appreciate it over the years.
Indeed, and we are all looking forward to hearing the new recording with John Davison. He is a fine singer, and it's going to be something special to hear some studio work from him.
Yeah, I think it's going to be this is a great contribution, and I think it'll take the band. Always having these new albums out is always it's always a great thing for the fans, because it's all very well playing the old material, but I think that it shows that the bands that both bands that I'm with have got the capacity and the willingness to put out new material.
Absolutely, and as is the case with Gravitas, and as was the case with Fly From Here, the new music you guys are producing is as good as anything in the history of those bands, and that really is saying something.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about the people that were involved in making it, that we're not just sitting back kind of a general process, and I think it puts us in a good place, generally speaking.
Absolutely. Just to finish up with Jeffrey, another one from left of centre. I had a question from a listener, and a lot of people will know, I guess around the world, but here in Australia, will know you from the huge hit from the Buggles video Killed the Radio Star back in the late 70s. But I had a question from a listener asking if you're familiar with the Ben Folds cover of that tune and if you liked it or not.
Yeah, I did. I remember hearing that was one of the first covers that happened. I mean, obviously since it first came out, there've been a whole host of people covering it for various instances. Even the guy Will I Am, did a version of it. Just used a little sample of it. So it's been the presidents of the USA did a version of it that was in a song called The Wedding Singer. So it's been pushed out there, but I still think that version was particularly good, out of all the versions that have been recorded.
I think I may be incorrect, but I think there's a version kicking around from an Australian band called The Living End. I'll have to go and look for that.
Yeah, that rings a bell. I mean, as I say, I can't keep track of it because it's now, it's 35 years on, so it's hard to keep track of all the times that the covers have come in or requests for covers.
Absolutely, and you're heading close to us to Japan to do some touring soon. So I guess it's a little bit wishful thinking to hope that something may be tacked on the end of that. But as I said before, hopefully
not necessarily. I think there has been some discussion about that. So it may well be possible. We might be possibly coming to Australia around November time. But as I say, it's not been fully scheduled yet, but there's a good chance of that.
I shall keep my ear to the ground and wait with bated breath. Thanks so much, Jeffrey. It's been an absolute pleasure to say hello. And as I said, Gravitas is.
Glad we finally got to connect. Okay, Michael.
Can I get you to do a quick tag for me?
Sure, yeah.
My program is called Sitting in a Bar in Adelaide.
Sitting in a bar in Adelaide.
Yeah, if you could do me something like this as Geoffrey Downes and you're listening to Sitting in a Bar in Adelaide, or if anything witty pops into your mind, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, hi, this is Geoff Downes of Asia and Yes, and you're listening to Sitting in a Bar in Adelaide.
Thank you again so much, mate. I really appreciate it, and as I said, I will hope November comes to fruition and we see you bring Asia to Australia. That would be marvellous. And all the best with Gravitas and the new Yes album.
Okay, thanks very much, man.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
That'd be good. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Hello, dear listener. Welcome to another week of Sitting in a Bar in Adelaide. My name is Michael Persh. Great to have you with me. As I have said many times during the course of Sitting in a Bar in Adelaide, one of the biggest thrills I get of doing the show is to chat to my rock and roll heroes, and this week is a big one because I have the keyboard player from Asia and from Yes, the one and only Geoffrey Downes on the show. Asia has a new album called Gravitas. The guys are touring around the world, maybe coming to Australia later in 2014, which would be wonderful. And also there's a new Yes album in the pipeline. It was a huge thrill for me, and I know all Yes fans in Australia to have Geoffrey play with the band that brought Fly From Here to Australia a couple of years back, and it was wonderful to see those guys play. So fingers crossed we will see Asia come to Australia with a wonderful lineup of Sam Coulson, the new guitar player, and of course John Wetton and the fantastic drummer Carl Palmer. Alrighty, let's have a tune from the new album Gravitas. Let's play the title track, and we'll come back and say hello to Geoffrey Downes on the line from London. There you go, dear listener. A huge thrill to have Geoffrey Downes on the show. He is one of my rock and roll heroes indeed. There is nothing Geoffrey Downes has done since I discovered him his music back in the late 70s that I haven't thought was absolutely fantastic. The stuff he's done with John Wetton, the stuff in Asia, and Yes, and all the other projects have just been magnificent music indeed, and he continues to make exceptional music. As I hope your ears have picked up from the new album Gravitas that I've played a little bit from this week. Alrighty, love to hear from you. AdelaideRockshow@gmail.com. Drop me a line if you're from far-flung corners of the world, and let me know how what we're missing in Australia until we see Asia perform here, hopefully in November. Alrighty, that's me done. We'll be back next time on Singing Bar in Adelaide. Until then, have a great time. Have a great week. Peace and love.